We're here from Holistic Actions today to help answer any of your questions. Some of you guys submitted questions in advance, but we'd like to address any that you've got live before we do anything else. And that can be, you can just unmute yourselves and ask your questions. Or
wait, Dr. Jeff, why don't you have them raise their hand?
Okay, and yep, and actually,
it'd be best if everybody kept yourself muted, and then raise your hand by clicking reactions somewhere.
Right. Yeah, it's at the bottom of the screen, and
I'm muted.
And no, you should be clear.
No, I'm okay now.
Okay.
And then when we finish answering your question, if you can lower your hand by clicking on the lower hand button in that same place. So more and more of you are getting familiar, of course, with Zoom, of course. So Monica, you're number one. Go ahead.
Yes, hello. How are y'all doing?
Great.
Good. I have a question about my dog who's had chronic ear infections for 2 years, and she's 6 years old. She's on a raw foods diet. She's on like raw chicken and bones, fruits and vegetables, barley juice, grass powder, and kelp.
And so here's the thing with any problem that all of you have, not any problem, but with many of the problems, excuse me, one of the first things to think about is this is a 6-year-old dog who's had chronic ear problems for 2 years. And so there are 2 important points here to know about. One important point is that anytime we have a problem that's on the skin, and that includes the ears or the nose or the eyelids, when it's on the skin, the body has pushed the imbalance to the outside. And dogs do not die of skin problems. So that's the good news. The good news is that energy field is healthy enough to push it to the outside. Now, it makes us miserable to watch our dogs scratching and digging at their ears, right? However, you're doing the right thing to have been working on the diet. The second thing is we look back to when the problem began. What was happening when the problem began? So apply this to any of you who have a problem that are here. What was happening 2 years ago? Was there a change of any sort?
2 years ago, we used to spray chemicals in the yard, and she used to be on kibble and no vitamins or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I was also wondering, could she lose her hearing? Can't they lose their hearing with chronic ear infections?
Pretty rare. Oh. Not saying it's never going to happen, but it's really, really rare. And I know dogs who've had chronic came to me with if everybody newly coming on would mute themselves, that would be lovely. These ears started discharging and becoming itchy after you changed from kibble to a fresh food diet.
It got a lot better within a few weeks of changing to the raw food diet. And I think for 6 months, maybe 5-6 months, she didn't have ear infection, but then all of a sudden it returned, and we didn't change anything, I don't think.
Okay. Well, what happened there is her energy field that was making the ear problems was sort of hunkered down, and you got it on a better diet, and it went, oh, okay, I'm feeling better. I don't need to make ear symptoms anymore. And then as time went on, whatever little things your dog has been sensitive to, he sort of got a little weaker. And so now your next step is 2-pronged. One prong are things to soothe the ear, which I'm sure you've been trying to do a lot of. And the second prong is to work at a deep energetic level. Now, at holisticactions.com, we have a free 5-lesson course, and it goes through the value of symptoms because they're saying what's going on internally. They're a clue for us. And it also talks about nutrition and decreasing toxins, which you're doing, which is great. That's why your dog has kept it on the outside instead of developing liver disease or cancer or other more serious problems. It may be the reason. So we also, in the last lesson, talk about how to find a holistic veterinarian to work with. And that's challenging. And you can go directly to that article. Anybody who's here who's been looking for a holistic vet who can go to holisticactions.com/select. And that's a free article. Dr. Jeff, you want to suggest anything? Make some comments?
Yeah,
Maybe,
and
maybe not just chicken, maybe trying different proteins might be good too. I didn't think about that.
Thank you.
And I guess the first thing I would ask you, Monica, is, did your dog's beam, behavior, energy, appetite, mood, did that change at all when the ear problem first started or any time in the past 2 years?
I'm sorry. You're asking has her mood changed?
What's more important than any individual physical symptom, whether it's ear problems or skin problems, is their quality of life, and that's reflected by parameters abbreviated as BEAM, BEAM.
Yes,
My
her
question,
beam. Yes, her beam, I think, has improved. Her mood is better. She's less aggressive. She's more energetic. She replies to me more, like she'll come to me when I tell her, more obedient.
and that's great. That's wonderful. Then my second part of the same context question is, did she ever have ear treatments in the past? Ear ointments or drops from the vet?
Yes, tons of antibiotic drops, steroids. I think that's in flush, whatever they do when you take her to the vet, they clean it with their hands.
Yep.
And we didn't do any more invasive. We didn't like the invasive stuff, so we didn't do it.
Yeah, which is great, and that's why, she's gonna do better overall, but unfortunately her body has all those ear manipulations, those symptom manipulations stored up in them. They're what we call energetic entanglements.
Yes.
And they've got to be unentangled on the energetic level. You can do that by the raw food has more energy in it than anything else, any other kind of food, but also other energy raising techniques. And Dr. Chambreau recommended, a holistic practitioner because a homeopath or a TCVM, a Chinese medical doctor, veterinarian, they're gonna focus on that energy field. So while you do that, while you make her as happy as possible, while you do all the things that can, improve energy, keep wiping out those ears. Anytime you see discharge, I love the True Blue ear wipes, which are just, herbal ear wipes that you can wipe out the ears, and that will actually help support the body while it heals. And one last,
And I like Animal Essentials ear wipes that are
Okay.
slightly herbal. So I posted that in the chat as well.
awesome,
Animal Essentials, and what was the other one?
True Blue.
True Blue. Thank you.
Does
Thank
it
you
have
so
an E
much.
with it? Is it TRUEBLUEW?
It is, yeah.
I mean,
just
E.
like the JetBlue.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thank
But
you
most
so much.
importantly, Monica, is since there was so much suppression in the past, or so much palliation in the past, temporary help done in the past, as long as the beam is doing well and the ears are not getting worse and worse and worse and worse, if they're sort of just stabilized, I would give it another 6 months of what you're doing. But for long-term health, it's really important to be working with a holistic veterinarian. I've seen ear problems clear up with one chiropractic appointment, one homeopathic treatment, one Chinese medicine treatment, although usually it takes more. but you may want to give yourself a little more to see if the ears, it's been about a year and a half. So I think actually it's probably time for you to begin to work now with a holistic veterinarian. And if you join the Holistic Actions community, you'll get lots of support from people who are there, who've been there, done that.
And
Thank you so much.
I would just add that, keep doing that. But if you need to tolerate those symptoms and the beam is rising, just keep tolerating those symptoms. I mean, there's
Yep.
a reason we say embrace symptoms like they're your friends, because sometimes those symptoms are like the steam coming out of a little hole in a pressure cooker. You know, if you close the valve, it explodes, but if you keep that valve open, you're in good shape. So just let her body keep detoxing through the years. Just keep it wiped out so they're not a good environment for growth of other stuff. So, and Julie mentioned that she doesn't have a holistic vet locally. A lot of us will work virtually. So we work as part of your vet care team. So you have your local open-minded vet. They may or may not be holistically oriented. And you have a virtual holistic vet that works along with everyone else, and you are the quarterback. You know your pet the best. No matter what a vet says, or no matter what anyone says, you've got to intuitively decide if it feels right or not.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, good luck, Monica, and keep us posted on either the Holistic Actions Facebook page or join as a member.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Gail, go ahead.
Hello. I have a beagle that's 13 years old. And a couple of years ago, he had like a growth on the inside of his gum, and they took it off and they said it was cancer, but slow growing. And back in January, he had a big growth on his ear, which, was open and everything. And I took him to the vet and they removed it, and it turned out to be cancer. She said, they got it within the margins. So I started giving him a lot. I started making him my own food and everything. Anyway, it came back again, like underneath the ear. And he just had surgery last week, a few days ago, actually. And I haven't gotten a biopsy back, but I'm just wondering, is there any, I'm thinking it's probably, the same growth or whatever that spread. Is there any like supplements I could give him? I've been giving him vitamin C. I don't know, some things. Cat's claw are supposed to be good for viruses and stuff. I don't know. Is there anything that you could recommend? And I've been giving him this food, which he didn't really like, Honest Kitchen, it was called. And then I was making him some chicken, homemade stuff. I don't know. Is there any suggestions? That's what I really want to know.
Absolutely, Gail. Members of Holistic Actions get to go to a webinar every Monday night, and every year a Zoom webinar, and every year we do a whole month on cancer. So there's a lot of information on the website about cancer for members. But first, take the fundamentals course, the free 5-lesson course, which I posted in the chat. And by the way, everybody, you can save the chat and all the answers that we're doing to people in the chat by going to the 3 dots that are in the when you open the chat, and it says save, and it'll save it to your computer. So if you go to holisticactions.com /fun-fundamentals and just sign in and create a password, but it's free. You'll learn much more about the nutrition so that you will be able to do it at home. And then also we've got lesson 5 is about creating your holistic healthcare team. But you can go directly to holisticactions.com/select. And there are many homeopathic veterinarians who can work virtually. There are other veterinarians like Dr. Sue Howell at thrivepetvet.com who does nutritional testing, and she can work virtually. So there are other veterinarians who work virtually in addition to homeopathic ones. So you can definitely, at this stage, it would be good to get help. There are so many different panaceas for cancer, but just like in humans, you know that each cancer tends to need different conventional treatments. Same thing's true with holistic, is each animal needs something different. And so we have to take the individual animal into account. Now, the one type of treatment that you all can use for any condition, but especially for cancer, is, if Dr. Jeff could type this in the chat, is by Bingston, Bill Bingston. And you can buy his book, The Energy Cure, read the appendix. And it's a way of you channeling energy to your animals. So that's one, and it'll be posted in the chat room. So that's something you can do almost immediately. And Dr. Rick Palmquist, who's a longtime holistic vet in Los Angeles, when his clients come in with animals with cancer, he just tells them, buy the book. And he has had much success with having cancer resolve. And then then you want to continue with fresh food, no vaccinations, minimal vaccinations. You do need to stay current on rabies, and minimal toxins, like no flea and tick chemicals and no chemicals on your yard. Those are things, some of the things. Most importantly is loving. And if you go to our YouTube channel, which I don't know what it is, maybe Dr. Jeff can post that. The YouTube channel has a wonderful talk with Bernie Siegel, the pediatric oncologist who's written so many books. And he gives so many examples of love. And he took his dog, his family dog, he had 5 kids, to the vet for a terminal condition. Vet wanted to euthanize it right away, but he called his children and they said, no, Dad, you wouldn't do that to a person. They brought the dog home and just gave him a ton of love, and he lived another 4 years. So your thinking, your mindset, what you're doing can make a huge difference. So I would also check out things like, these work for people as well as for animals, and that's Eden Energy Medicine. It's Reiki, it's EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique. I'm posting these in the chat. All of these are things that can help your attitude and therefore your ability to help heal your dog. And there are tons more of these as well, but it's a place to get started. And again, also think about finding a holistic vet who can help you virtually. If there's none nearby, go to that article. And number 2, think about becoming a member with lots of good support.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Sarah?
And before we move on, Gail, I would just expand a little bit. You know, Dr. Schipper mentioned a couple specific techniques, but really when the one thing you can start doing right away is working on your pup's energy and the energy system, because that's going to allow his body to be as the best it can be.
Okay.
Regardless of whether it's an ear or cancer or Cushing's or anything. So that's why we talk about the love therapy and the happiness protocol, therapeutic sniff walk. Those are all things that raise energy, and when dogs are in their joy, it's a state I call cellular joy. They heal the best they can because they don't have this thing getting in the way. And like Dr. Chambreau said, your mindset, our mindset affects our animals. So, you know, trying to be as joyful to yourself. And if, you know, you've got a little beagle, if he likes being held, you know, just do your happy dance, you know, dancing around happily, holding your dog. It's really going to help. It's really going to help.
Okay.
And the one thing we didn't ask is your dog's beam. You know, is any of this bothering your dog?
No, he's just doing great, actually. I did some alternative stuff. I did like a Reiki. It's called Rising Star. It's a little different. Then I did that on him, and I had Biontology. I don't know if you heard of that. sessions on him, but he's actually he's doing good. They both might have two beagles, and the other one had surgery, and the one that, you know, was diagnosed seems like he's more alert and everything. So
Great. Just
you know,
keep doing what
Keep
you're
up.
doing.
Yeah,
he has
keep
a
up
lot of
all of the
energy.
energy work. Yep.
And I'm glad it kind of came out to the surface too, like you were
Yes.
talking about, because I wouldn't have seen it in the inside, you know, so I wouldn't have known anything. So I just,
And-
the thing with you mentioned the flea and tick. I live in Florida and there's a lot of fleas. I mean, do you recommend anything I could do? I know that's bad.
I live in Florida, and
Oh.
50% of my clients lived in the Southeast. And
Okay,
once they became healthy, they didn't even attract fleas.
really?
Yep.
Okay.
So there's a book, it's a member benefit, but you can also find it on Amazon. Fleas Be Gone by me.
Okay.
Also check out, there's a new company with nematodes. The main thing is just try stopping the chemicals. For
Yeah.
starters,
I
just
know.
stop the chemicals and you may not even see any fleas. If you see one flea, don't worry about it. Often the chemicals aren't even needed, and you're feeding a fresh food diet, probably they aren't even needed.
Okay. Fresh food
But,
diet.
Yep. And check out the fleadestroyer.com, because it's supposed to be good for our fire ants down here. I haven't had a fire ant hive since I got it, but you have to contact the company and ask how to do it. But
okay, thank you.
or email me at healthyanimals@aol.com, and I'll tell you what they told me to do for fire ants,
Okay.
even though I haven't tested it yet.
Okay. Is there any food to buy that you recommend? Because he stopped wanting to eat my homemade food. Is there anything that
He did what with your homemade food?
stopped wanting to eat my homemade
Well,
food?
The main thing, so definitely take that fundamentals course, and we talk there about food. There is not a dog food that you're making yourself. You're just feeding him fresh food. So if
Okay.
you feed different food, if you feed different hunks of meat every day to those dogs, beagles are usually very good eaters. So have them eat whatever they like, basically. And you may have to, and it's good to rotate their food and rotate their veggies that they're doing. Try to stay seasonal for Florida. So
Okay.
right now is a good time for all of your greens, and squash is coming in right now, that kind of thing. Feed a lot of pineapple in the summer.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. All
But
right.
check out that free course.
I will. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And just a quick answer, Gail, I love the high energy, the concentration on heart and lack of HPP, so no processing. Raw food called small batch, which is
Small
just
batch?
which is just could be a chicken or beef, or the more variety, the better variety really is spice of life. And so,
And
Okay.
also check your local holistic health store, holistic pet store, because they may have different varieties you can try. The key thing, everybody, don't keep eating the same food day in and day out and
Okay.
day in and day out.
Yeah.
Even if they
know.
like a particular brand or like a particular combo you're doing, keep feeding different things, because like what you're happening now, oh, they don't like it now, so always feed variety.
Okay. That's great. Thank you.
Yep. Excellent. Lots of little, and as you save the chat at the very end, you'll you'll have comments from the community that are in here as well.
Okay.
Sarah.
Hello,
Hi.
I just have a question about, I have a 9-month-old English lab. And she has a problem since we got her as a puppy. Even when we had her outside all the time, our yard is really bad. You mentioned about fleas and stuff. Mosquitoes are really bad in our yard, and I can't even sit out there for very long without getting bit. And so she'll get a bunch of bites all over her belly. And the only thing we used on her was Wondercide spray on her, and it helps. I think, but I think it's a little too strong for her. I know she doesn't really like it. I try to spray it on my hands first and then rub it on her fur, but I was trying to think of what's the best way to control that as it gets warmer, and the bugs come out to protect her skin from all the bites on her belly and stuff that she gets, um, in the summertime.
Right.
Yeah.
Couple of things. One is if you, as you build her health, she'll be less likely to have a reaction to her bites.
Okay.
Some are just more sensitive than others, but the more you do energy approaches, feed a fresh food diet, avoid toxins, things that we talk about in the class, she's going to be less likely to. There are some tags that, although they're geared to fleas and ticks, they also have them for mosquitoes. And tickless.com uses an ultrasonic sort of a sound that scares off the bugs.
Okay.
And so you can get almost immediate response with that. Zero Bug Zone and other companies, Cat and Dog, have ones that use more of an electromagnetic frequency, but those take up like a month to start working, and you can't take them off and start again as easily. So we're still researching a little bit the tickless.com, because I want to know, is the noise, but is the sound frequency going to bother the dogs and cats?
Right.
We can't hear it, but what about bothering them? But so far it's been used in Europe for decades. So, I'm checking it out, but it's worth trying. And anything. So for everybody, here's a really important point. Anything that anybody suggests, whether it's us or somebody else, no matter how much of an expert they are, the most important thing is that you pay attention to how your animal responds to whatever you're trying, and particularly focusing on, like Dr. Jeff has been talking about, is BEAM, is how's their quality of life? How are they overall? What's their energy level? So that's the most important, regardless of what other problems are going on. If they're having a good life and having fun, then you're doing something right, and you can continue with that and then maybe add something else in. But that's a great, and my goodness, Sarah, a 9-month-old, we're so excited to have you here because please go take that fundamentals course. Please start doing things now.
Okay.
And most importantly, go to the select and it may take you a year to find the perfect holistic veterinarian to work with, but then you'll have that person in your pocket for the rest of your life. Don't wait until that puppy gets sick before you go looking for it.
Oh, I agree with you.
Create your team and learn energy healing now.
Yeah, and embrace those symptoms and live with them. As long as BEAM is an 8 out of 10 or higher, then don't worry about the individual symptoms.
And just a couple of others.
Okay.
If the it's really good, number one, that you're letting your dog play outside in the dirt, because dirt organisms help the gut have a healthy microbiome. So that's really important. And number two, rescue remedy and some of the other flower essences can be applied topically. And I get a lot of bug bites here in Florida. And so I sort of run through different products I pick up at the conferences, and Animal Essentials, it's like an herbal skin spray, seems to relieve my itching. This year it didn't do as well, and another product I can't even remember helped. So the thing is, try different holistic products. They have all different herbal and flower essence and essential oil sort of sprays. So you have to find out what's too strong. Like someone mentioned, Wondercide was too strong. Well, you might dilute it, or you just might try another product. Another thing that can keep bugs off is to feed garlic on a regular basis. And there's a garlic barrier that you can spray on your yard for getting rid of the mosquitoes, preventing mosquitoes. So check out, I think the company is garlicbarrier.com.
Okay.
And
Great.
my last suggestion, because you just said that, Noah, Dr. Christina, I'm gonna toot our own horn. For the home vet, you can buy homevet.com. You can buy something called Common Soothe. which is an essential oil blend designed to keep away mosquitoes and help itchy, dry skin. And we use it for ourselves and our pets. So
Okay.
that's not the suggestion, but really
And there are a lot of other good products there.
there are, yeah, and thanks. And there are also a lot of other essential oils that will do the same thing, but as Dr. Christina said, you sometimes have to try one, then try another.
And oilyvet.com for everybody is a good one for essential oils. Dr. Melissa Shelton has put together a lot of combos, and a number of our members at Holistic Actions have used them and reported positive results with them. Okay,
Okay.
Tina's
Thank
story.
you.
Hi there.
Hi, are
thanks
you
for taking-
Dr. Are you Dr. Tina Story?
No, I'm not. I'm not.
Wow, there is a veterinarian named Tina Story.
Oh, I'm gonna have to find her then. That would be great. Pretty funny. Okay, so I hope this is a quick question, actually. What are your thoughts on dental cleanings and dental health? Because I'm really afraid of the regular dental cleanings and the anesthesia. I don't actually also like the non-anesthesia based dental cleans. I find them very brutal, actually. And I want to just be able to feed, because, and I feed my dogs fresh food. It's from like Farmer's Dog and Nom Nom and Ollie. I'm circulating. I'm wanting to get them onto some raw food. Again, I'm trying to get them to do the bones, raw bones, to chew that. But I'm still noticing and my dogs are young, like they're in their between 2 and 4. And I'm noticing the plaque. I've got dental wipes. I'm not sure how great they are. So I'm just looking for more confidence, I guess, in maintaining their dental health.
So I'm going to say one thing or two things and then pass it to Dr. Jeff. When we had the owner of Houndstooth come in, she taught me something that I didn't know after 40 years of practice. And then I checked it out with my dentist the next time I went in for my cleaning, and she agreed with me. All you have to do, you don't need dental wipes, you don't need gauze, you don't need abrasive, you don't need a toothbrush. Lots of dogs don't like those. Just your finger, rub. After dinner, just rub. And that's all you have to do. And that makes a huge difference. And then, of course, feeding the raw food is helping. Your dogs would have worse tartar if they weren't. And keep working at not just bones, but feeding. A lot of the commercial raw food diets, unfortunately, are ground. So
Yeah,
feed
mushy.
large hunks of meat. Doesn't have to be bones. It could be tripe. The non-Clorox tripe. It could be a hunk of heart. Heart meat is so good for them. But you want something big enough that they go like that. And that gives them a chiropractic adjustment. So it can be meat or it can be turkey necks, chicken necks, things like that. Dr. Jeff, you talk about the dental side. And I'll answer some.
I'm trying to put a few products in the chat, but they keep going in the wrong place. I'm going to put them in the shadow. No wonder. Okay, that won't go away. So
And while you're doing that, I'll answer Ruth. So how you get them to let you put your finger in their mouth is the same way you get them to do everything. And so here's for everybody. Here's another generic, every animal, whatever their age, and who was it? Sarah with the young puppy, make sure you're doing this, but at any age, as soon as you have them, whatever you want them to do, approach it sort of sequentially in little bits. So Ruth, if you can pet the dog's head, okay, that's one, or your cat. If you can pet your cat's head, step 1. Step 2, pet down the nose. Step 3, pet down the side. At any point when they go, then you back up and you only do the first part, and then you let them, you do that with treats until they let you do that. And then you get to where you're just rubbing like this. And then you just go like this. And then you go like this, go like this. So same thing with feet and trimming nails. You might have to start at the shoulder, and it might be 2 months before you get to wiggling the toes. It's worth it. It's worth it. We actually teach people how to do physical exams on your dog. So start doing from head to tail and even sticking thermometers in their butt, because you may have to do that someday. So, yep. Okay, back to you, Dr. Jeff, for dentals.
Well, young dogs that are getting a little bit of plaque, I usually start with the protein plaque off, which just softens it, makes it easier to rub off. I also put a resource from the expert in bones. In Australia, there's a veterinarian named Tom Lansdale. It says that if your dog eats bones as part of his diet, and these are like things like chicken necks or turkey necks or chicken wings or not the ground bones that you'll find in small batch or any of the ground foods, but the bones combined with everything else, they won't develop. They're not designed to develop the tartar. Actually, tartar is also related to tartar buildup is related to the number of vaccines they've had in the past. And that will increase their chance of tartar, and brushing really does work. And as Christine wrote in the chat, they brush their Pomeranian's teeth, which is an older Pom. I mean, these little dogs with good teeth, vets don't usually see that at all, but you can do the same thing with bones, big chunks of food. The protein plaque off will help soften the plaque, and the New Zealand deer velvet oral spray. It's also really good, both as a preventative and early treatment. Did you want to move on, Dr. Christine? You're on mute.
Does anybody else want to put their, oh, first off, Tina, did that answer your question? I was on mute, sorry.
Yes, thank you very much. I guess just to wrap up, to confirm that you're not big proponents of dental cleanings in the vet office.
No, I would not say that. I would say, for me personally, and one of the wonderful things about the Holistic Actions community is that all of us veterinarians there, none of us are one size fits all. We believe that everybody is an individual, every animal is an individual, and each of us has slightly different opinions. So that's one of the wonderful things, is you get these different opinions. So in my homeopathic practice, I was able to prevent animals from having to get dentistry a lot because of food and rebalancing their energy field. However, there were times when we needed to, teeth needed to be pulled, whatever we were doing wasn't working, and people were afraid of anesthesia. Anesthesia is pretty safe these days. And if you're following it with holistic approaches, then you will have much less problems in recovering from anesthesia and problems after anesthesia. I would always do a chiropractic exam or treatment after any anesthetic dentistry, and possibly even after a non-anesthetic dentistry, because their head is being pulled around. Now, I've had very favorable reports from a lot of the non-anesthetic dentistry, people who've done that, where it was very gently done. It was done in their house. They totally loved it. So there are multiple, works for some people and not for other people. Prevention's the best, but it's better not to ignore the teeth completely.
Thank you very much. Yeah, that makes
Okay.
sense.
Okay. Did anybody else want to put their hand up?
Yeah, Jennifer's got a hand up. We lost her video.
Oh, I couldn't see it. Sorry.
I have too many things in the background. Yeah.
It did. It merged with the background,
and
Jennifer.
your video turned off, Dr. Christina.
Me and technology. I love it. Go ahead, Jennifer.
Mine's like maybe a little bit longer question, but not too much. We have two rescue beagles, bonded pair that we've had for about 5 years, and they're older now. They're 13, closer to 14. Very healthy, happy. You know, we take good care of them. But we had some test results come back on Duncan, and back in 2020, he's fine, perfect, everything's great. And then he went in for some dental work on September of 22, and his a lot of his things were elevated. So his hematology was still okay, but his chemistry with liver and bilirubin, different things were elevated. So the vet had said, let's wait 6 months, do these things, and we'll move forward and we'll check it again. So we checked it again just recently, and I went in and I felt very strongly that, oh, they weren't doing much to support me, and I've been working through my animal chaplaincy program, learning more, and I felt very strongly that it was kidney. There was something with kidney. What they wanted to do was do 100 other tests on everything to see. After I talked at length with the vet, she spoke to a specialist, and she agreed that this is the path we're going to take. So low protein and all the signs pointed towards that. Trying to help support his liver, things like that. Couple of things with it. I do believe it still is that, and he's happy, he's doing great. I started doing some chakra work on him. I've noticed a huge difference just in a short amount of time. So I'm feeling like, listening to you all, it just makes me so excited.
So Jennifer, let me interrupt you for a minute. So
Yeah.
everybody notice what Jennifer just said. She started doing chakra root and there was a ton of difference. And
Yeah.
earlier Jill said, or somebody said, that as soon as they switched to a raw food diet, Monica said, the ears got better. Even if it was just for 6 months, they still got better. So we're hearing positive reports on these things, which is wonderful. Go ahead, Jennifer.
Well, my other question on it was, I feel like I'm on the right track with what we're doing, except for the food. We used to do raw diets for other dogs that we've had. We haven't with these two. They've been on the core fish diet lately. And when we talked to the vet, of course, they said, oh, well, you can do your own low protein, low phosphorus, all that diet, but it just be careful because you don't know the exact amounts. And of course that felt prickly to me. But I also would like, I guess I'd like to focus on that and ask questions about that, and the best resource to do that while making sure that we are keeping the protein lower for him and all of that.
Dr. Jeff, I'm going to let you start with, do you actually need to keep protein low at those levels?
Good question.
No.
Okay.
No, it's all about phosphorus.
Okay.
Phosphorus is a direct kidney toxin, but if your dog is happy and having a good life and has a high beam, then the only reason to restrict protein is later in the disease. They're developing uremia or kidney toxins in the blood when they really start to have some other issues, but there is no evidence research-wise that restricting protein early is indicated, and especially in older animals, dogs and cats.
Okay.
It's actually contraindicated because we want to keep them eating, we want to keep them happy, we want to keep them in that joy. And as we talked about, Jennifer, were you on the chaplaincy call a couple weeks ago with Sarah?
Yeah, I was.
So as we talked about then, it really is all about keeping him in that state of cellular joy. So do your chakra root, your chakra therapy, all of the energy raising methods that you can use, but
Okay.
the more joy, the more happiness, the more love, the less any biochemical abnormalities are gonna really matter.
Okay. Yeah, you start to panic a little when you see the levels, but when they're shooting kind of all over the place, I would like to look into finding another holistic vet here in town, in our little small town. But you start to panic a little, about seeing those levels go up. But
you made
and the other
real...
thing is you can find, you can work with homeopathic vets by phone. And like I said, there are other vets that work virtually as well. on
Be
different
great. Yeah,
different topics. So if you can't find somebody locally, go to that select
yeah.
and really
Okay.
look to find. But if you can't, you know, then homeopathic by phone can really help.
Okay,
Mhm.
great.
Doing good, Jennifer. And have you found that the holistic actions has been helping you?
I just started with it. I didn't know about it. I'm learning so much in my class. And it was great. So when I'm getting all the emails and I saw this, I thought, oh, it just, yeah. It's becoming
Learn
more and
some
more
more.
clear, which is nice, you know. It's a lot of support. It's great, you know. So thank you.
Wonderful. Well, welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Do you want to work through the chat, Dr. Christina?
Yep, I have
starting
been.
with Julie's question, which
Well, I think okay, so Julie had, well, somebody had an involuted vulva. I've sort of answered that in the chat, but you may want to speak to that. I just said, feed a good diet, lots of exercise, make sure they're not overweight, and then may need to do energy work or work with a holistic vet. Anything else you'd want to add to an inverted vulva?
yeah, just the wipes, you know, those ear wipes or any wipes.
No,
to keep
vulva, not, oh, I'm sorry. You're right. Sorry.
to keep the folds clean around the vulva, because the only reason it's really any issue is that keeps the urine pools up in that spot. And it tends to irritate the area. So keeping it dry, keeping it clean, a little cornstarch, true blue ear wipes around the vulva will work, but really any just gauze with anything that you can use to clean the area work real well.
So other people may have done the same thing. What, ear wipes for the butt? You know, it's not that they're designed for one part of the body or the other. Most herbal and topical treatments can be used anywhere on the skin. And I encourage people to look into healing essences. Used to be called flower essences, but many of them are made from crystals and trees and mountains and all sorts of other energies. So healing essences, they're totally safe. You can play with them. And again, energy is the other thing that you really want to be working on. And Jill wanted to know about a particular laser. I asked her, but didn't get an answer. Is she a member? Jill, are you a member of Holistic Actions?
Yeah, I am. I just
Okay.
joined. Yeah.
Okay, good. So, so definitely, we've had some laser talks, haven't we, Dr. Jeff?
We have, but maybe the best thing for you to do, Jill, is post in the forums. I asked your question in the forum, and that way everyone can chime in with lasers that we use that,
Okay.
each individual uses. Because
I
there
did
are a
that
lot out
yesterday.
there. Oh, you did? Good.
Yeah.
Awesome. In the public forum or in the private area?
I don't know. I should watch the video on it. I did start watching the class, the 5-part class, and I should have watched the video on the forum. I just saw it to post, and so I posted, so I don't really know where it went.
Okay. And we will actually look for it just to make sure, because I didn't see it yet.
So Wellington asked, he has a 10-year-old lab just diagnosed with breast cancer. So the first question, Wellington, why don't you unmute yourself if you'd like, Wellington? If you can, if you're where you can. So it has to do with Jeff's first question to everybody, which is Beam. How's the dog doing overall? Is she healthy, happy, energetic, doing fine? Dr. Margot Roman, who does fecal transplants, and she had a standard poodle who developed a breast cancer at age 8, and she treated it with all sorts of things, and it slowly grew. And got a few more, and the dog lived to be 14 with no surgery. So taking the holistic approach, often will slow down the growth of any tumor that's out there, and sometimes will completely resolve the tumor. And when you remove something from the outside that isn't causing a lot of problems, it can then generate more problems internally. So there's no one right answer. It has to do, again, with how your dog is doing overall and your willingness to begin working with. This is another case, as we talked about with the first cancer question we answered, where you really, with cancer, you really do need to be working with a holistic veterinarian. Until you're very skilled, it's not something you can do on your own. So you want to go to holisticactions.com/select and take the time to read the whole article. Wellington can't unmute. The dog is happy. So I would check out the website. And since she's happy and apparently doing fine, you also want to eliminate for anybody with cancer, people or animals, you want to eliminate as many possible toxins. Make sure they're getting good water, lots of foods. We just had a talk about water recently. And the key thing about water is there's no right or wrong water. People talk about alkaline water or structured water or chia water or this water or that water. The main thing that she said, Gia Braden, I think.
Gina Bria. Yep.
Gina Bria.
Yep.
I mix her names together. Gina Bria is, she said, mostly you want to get the water from the foods you eat. So if you're drinking water, put some lemon juice in it, put some watermelon juice in it, eat watermelon, eat celery, drink celery juice, things like that. So dogs and cats on kibble really suffer for that. So avoiding kibble for dogs or cats is a challenge. Now, Wellington then posted, the tumor has erupted and is bleeding. So temporarily, if you're deciding that you do want to work with a holistic veterinarian on this, you can purchase a product online, or if you have a really good health food store in your town or any health food store in your town, there's a product called, can you post Yunnan Bio, Jeff? There's a product, a Chinese combination herbal product that is really good for stopping bleeding. I mean, it's like, we don't usually say this is good for that, but Yunnan Bio is very good for stopping bleeding. And it can be given internally as well as can be put on topically. And that may buy you a week or two to do some more research, to reach out to some people. And for everybody who's here, I do pet health coaching. I no longer am a homeopathic veterinarian, so I don't take on being your pet's vet like I used to virtually, but I do virtual coaching. So you can contact me for that if you want, just to help you get down the right path and think about what are other alternatives. And like with behavior problems, sometimes, yeah, I come up with a good idea that people have maybe never thought about. So the two Anchi, can you come online or not? No, we can't hear her, so I see her walking around. There, she's trying.
Yeah, we've got a few more minutes.
Okay, she's trying there. Oh, we're down to our last 4 minutes. So the bottom line is lots of homeopathic veterinarians have had success with dogs with epilepsy. A lot of Chinese medicine vets have had success with epilepsy, and even some very good chiropractic vets have had success.
There we go.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I just unmuted myself. It took so long.
Right. So go to the
Yep.
holisticactions.com/select, read that article, and then try to find, what did the two holistic vets you worked with do?
Well, yeah, they did, like, the one woman, she put him on a goat milk cleanse.
No,
She
okay.
said and then
What-
she
what-
gave him, yeah, sorry.
And what did they do acupuncture or homeopathy?
Chiropractic adjustment.
Okay, that's good.
And then she also did she gave him various supplements, and she also has traditional Chinese medicine. And
Okay,
we
and
went
that
there
did
like
not
very
help.
often. The
Did that
problem
help
was
at all?
the seizures got more, like in a
Okay.
row, got more, from 3 to 4, and
Wow.
then to 5
Oh,
or 6, all in a
so
row.
sad.
Yeah, and so we can't now he's on, because we had to go to the emergency room. Now he is
Uh.
on like normal meds, right? Because
Right.
we didn't know what to do.
Okay,
So we can't like
right,
test this
absolutely.
person or that
Wait.
person.
Well,
Yeah.
that is our challenge. We do sometimes have to do that. Definitely go to the
Mm.
article, look for a homeopathic vet who can work with you virtually. Okay, that's the
Mhm,
key
mhm.
thing. So we're going to have to wrap this up. I want to remind
Okay.
everybody, please save the chat. There's a lot of good stuff in this chat. So go down to the 3 buttons, click on the 3 buttons, and it says save chat. And then you'll have lots and lots of resources. And I guess, Dr. Jeff, are we going to be here next week? Same time, same
Yep,
place?
yep. Right now, the plan is, because there are a
kind of-
ton of questions we didn't get to, the plan is every Friday in April, same time, same place.
And we'll be sending a brief answer to those who emailed in their questions. Whitney, somewhere there's a way to save your chat. Are you on a computer or an iPad?
I found it.
Could I ask a question?
I-
Because
We're out of time. Sorry.
we've just been waiting for like 30 minutes and my mom didn't get to ask her question. Can we
Sure,
just ask?
sure.
it?
Well, go ahead.
We just want to know if you guys, if you two have a vet that you know of that has
Well,
cured the seizures that you could
Yes,
recommend.
I
us to.
just, no. Yes, yes, I know of 25 different homeopathic veterinarians who have cured seizures. I know of over 50 to 100 Chinese medicine veterinarians who have cured seizures.
Okay. So
And
those
and
are
so
in that website.
that's why my
Okay.
recommendation was to go to the article, holisticactions.com/select, read the article, go to the websites and find a home. At this point, given what you've already tried, you now need to move to a virtual homeopathic veterinarian to try that.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Sure. Whitney, did you find how to save it?
No, it's probably the iPad. I mean, I see the
Yeah,
3
I
dots are there.
I know you-
I'll email it to you afterwards, if you'd
Okay,
like.
nice.
All right.
there's a member benefit, a client benefit.
All
Okay,
right.
everybody.
Sorry that we didn't get to a lot of questions, but maybe we'll see you next week.
All right.
Or on
Jill
the
Fair,
forum.
send an email to me at healthyactions@aol.com and I'll send you one.
Thank you all for coming. We appreciate it. Bye.
Thank you.
Happy Easter.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, happy Easter.